I thought number 16 was harder. I was totally primed for, the fact that the argument has, in fact, assumed that if you have to pay for it, then you'll conserve. Nobody said they would. We just assumed that they would. And so if you're going to weaken that, I wanted a response that says, causing people to pay more will not result in them conserving. And answer choice E might have been attractive to you, but it wasn't at all to me, because knowing only that some people conserve for reasons other than cost savings doesn't do anything to this argument, because this argument didn't say if every landlord did this, then we would definitely see cost or energy reductions across the board, right? And evidence about only some people can only be effective at weakening an argument that says all people. That's the only argument you can weaken, by saying some people. And this argument just wasn't about all people or what's going to happen to all people. It just said if we had more landlords doing it, then we would have more energy saving. So knowing what some people do doesn't help. So that means we have another answer choice out there. Answer choice D, by the way, even if it said most of them, it still wouldn't change anything. The question isn't how much it would cost. The question isn't about how much money would be spent. The question is about whether we would conserve energy. So even if most of them would find it prohibitively expensive, that wouldn't have any effect on the claim that installing the meters would conserve energy. Might cost more, but this is an argument about cost. It's about whether or not we'll conserve energy. And we have assumed that if the tenants have to pay their own bills, they will use less energy. And there's the trick. We've assumed that they will use less energy. And in my mind, it was we've assumed that they'll use their appliances less. But if C is true, and landlords have this strong incentive when they're paying for electricity, they have this strong incentive to install energy-efficient appliances, then maybe it doesn't matter how much the tenants use the appliances. They're not using a lot of energy because they're using they'll use the appliances less, but that won't really conserve much energy because the appliances are so energy efficient. That's what answer choice C is saying, that they've got toaster ovens that only use one. I have no idea how much energy the average toaster oven uses, but they only use 1/100th of the average, in which case it doesn't really matter how much the tenants use the appliance. If they cut down their use, if they don't cut down their use, they're not really conserving any extra energy because the appliance is so efficient. I thought that was hard. I did. I wouldn't be surprised if you thought it was hard too. One thing I only barely like the prescriptive element of the argument, because clearly we have prescribed a course of action for landlords, and clearly we have done so without establishing that prescription will work. It's just that answer choice C was not, to me at least, as clear in how it attacked that assumption. But I hope this explanation has helped.